In August of 79 AD, the sky over the Bay of Naples turned crimson. Mount Vesuvius tore itself open, launching a 21-mile-high column of superheated rock and ash into the atmosphere. Inside the walls of Pompeii, the air quickly filled with toxic sulfur. In a quiet peristyle garden inside the house of the Cryptoporticus, a superheated pyroclastic wave of gas and calcified ash rushed toward two cornered figures. Trapped with no escape, they turned to each other. One rested his head gently against the other's chest. They wrapped their arms around one another, and their fingers entwined. In their final seconds, they made a specific choice. They didn't run. They faced absolute death, locked in a shared embrace. In July 1914, Pompeii's director of works, Vittorio Spinazzola, began excavating the house and discovered a series of hollow voids in the hardened volcanic crust. To preserve the shapes of the dead, excavators pumped liquid plaster into these cavities. As it cured and the ash was brushed away, the plaster revealed the exact contours of the victims' final moments. Looking at this photograph of the casts, the workers noted the shape of the legs and the gentle, comforting positioning of the bodies. Early 20th century archaeologists evaluated this pose through a strict Victorian lens. They assumed that a man would face death standing or fighting, while physical comfort was a feminine impulse. This bias led the team to instantly label the pair the two maidens, deducing they were either sisters or a mother and daughter. For the next century, millions of visitors looked at these figures and saw a story of family and domestic tragedy. But the narrative was a modern projection, constructed by excavators rather than history itself. In 2015, the Pompeii Cast Project used modern medical technology to peer beneath the plaster without damaging the historic artifacts. While the soft tissue decomposed almost 2 millennia ago, the victims' bones and teeth remained perfectly trapped inside. Using CT scanners, researchers could finally image the hollow cores of these chalky shells. The development of the third molars, the wisdom teeth, identifies both individuals as young. One was between 14 and 19, the other was a young adult, around 18 to 20. The structural morphology of the bones provided the next revelation. The shapes of the skeletons prove that both individuals are biologically male. This evidence upends a century of consensus. The two maidens were gone, replaced by two young men and a new question: who were they to each other? To answer that, scientists extracted fragmented DNA directly from the bones and published their findings in November 2024. Mitochondrial DNA is passed down exclusively from a mother to her children. If these two were brothers, their sequences would be an identical match. But when compared, the genetic codes were completely different, sharing no identical markers. The results rule out any maternal relation. These young men are not brothers, nor are they mother and son. Every safe assumption about a family bond has been stripped away. This pattern of misidentification appears across the city. In the House of the Golden Bracelet, researchers tested a famous cast long believed to be a mother holding a child on her lap. The DNA revealed that the supposed mother was actually an unrelated adult male. The wider census proves ancient Pompeii was a cosmopolitan city, heavily populated by immigrants from the Eastern Mediterranean and North Africa. By relying on genetic data rather than visual assumptions, we strip away the prejudices of the 1900s to find a much more complex human reality. We return to the garden of the Cryptoporticus, two young, genetically unrelated men, holding each other tightly as the eruption hits. Modern science has limits. We cannot sequence an emotional connection or prove romantic love from ancient bone. Yet the Director General of Pompeii argues that the idea that these two young men were lovers is a hypothesis that can no longer be dismissed. Ultimately, labels aside, the physical record remains. Faced with an apocalypse, these two men chose to face the end not in isolation, but in each other's arms.